Let's talk about during a regular cycle, how you've already touched on hormones and how they change in the cycle, but let's get into it in a general sense and how somebody before hitting perimenopause and menopause wants to look at in your book, you do a 30-day cycle, and how we want to incorporate fasting throughout that. And then we'll move into later in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see how complicated it was to write this book? You've got a lot of women at a lot of different phases. And sadly, we have a lot of 20-year-olds that are not even cycling because of environmental impacts. So to answer your question, here's the simplest way to understand it. From day one, which day one, a lot of women don't totally get that day one is the first day you're officially bleeding. Like you've got to use some feminine care products. It's not spotting, it's bleeding. So from day 1 to day 10, estrogen is starting to build. You can go low carb, you can fast. I call it in the book, I call it a power phase. I think all the names of hormones are so complicated, nobody can understand them. So I decided to rename the different phases. And the power phase is when you can power up on fasting. So day 1 to day 10, estrogen's coming in. Go ahead and go keto, go ahead and fast. Day 11 to day 15, you've got estrogen at her highest, and you've got this incredible 5-day period where testosterone came in and it's at its highest, and you have a little bit of progesterone coming in. So in the book, I call it the manifestation phase because these are our superpowers. We can manifest anything we want with all these hormones coming in. But we've got to make sure we don't fast too long during that time because progesterone is there. And just because you make a hormone doesn't mean you break it down. So we've got to be able to have a good amount of fiber coming in, a good amount of prebiotic, probiotic fuel to help the gut break these hormones down. So in this ovulation window, I tell people 15-hour fast, like maximum if you're an expert faster. Don't go more than that. And you don't want to be in keto. You want, a lot of people go into keto and they forget about vegetables and fruit. You want to go more into more fruits, more vegetables, more of what I call the hormone feasting foods. Then when we come out of that period, we go back into another power phase. Day 16 to about day 19, you can go keto again. Those hormones have dropped. And so you can go back to a very similar approach to the beginning of the cycle. And then about day 20, that's when we stop doing keto and fasting. We bring glucose back up. You even want to stop cortisol from surging. And in the book, I call it the nurture phase. You really want to nurture yourself. But again, nurturing yourself with a tub of ice cream is not nurturing yourself. It's called a dopamine rush. So that's kind of how we do it. It's like an in and out sort of variation that works the best with women's hormones.
All right, let me make sure I have this. So this is for women from when they start their period to about 35. They have a 10-day phase, the first power phase, where they can go into keto and they can fast longer and harder. Then there's about a 5-day period where they have to let up a little bit. They can still fast, but not as aggressively as before. Then there's a few days where you can go back into the power phase, keto diet, fasting a little bit harder. Then the last 10 days of that 30-day cycle, we're not going to fast anymore. We're going to be more gentle on the body. And then it begins all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. You got it. You got it. And it's so interesting because, as women, we bitch about the week before our cycle all the time. We're like, I'm cranky. I don't feel like doing anything. I would just crave chocolate. I want to eat more carbs. And my answer to that is yeah, because that's what progesterone is demanding. Let's just do it from a healthy twist now. So you nailed it.
If you enjoyed that clip, press here for the full episode. I'll see you over there.
So if you want to lose weight, I really feel like the first thing we've got to look at is when you eat, not what you eat. Coffee may really help one person elongate their fast, and it may actually break the fast.